According to ACOG.org, American Congress of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, normal gestation for a baby is 40 weeks. 40 weeks for the baby to develop and grow enough to be able to live outside the womb. According to the March of Dimes 2011 Premature Birth Report Card, more than 500,000 babies are born premature every year. That's roughly 12% of all the births in the United States. There are research programs out there that are working hard to bring that number down. The March of Dimes is one of them. By the end of this informative speech, I am hoping that you will have a better understanding of where the March of Dimes came from, how it's changed over the years, and I also want you to come away with the understanding that no organization is perfect. With all the positives surrounding the March of Dimes, there is a negative as well. So, by the end of this speech, you will know when the March of Dimes started, how their charities, including the March for Babies, raise money for research, and the negative side of a large charity organization. We'll start with the history. In the early 19th century, there was a new disease called polio. Polio was a disease that caused an inflammation of the spinal cord that would leave the person unable to move their arms, legs, or even their lungs. It was not until 1916, when there was a huge outbreak of the disease, that it really brought it to people's attention. This particular outbreak started in New York, and within a few months had already struck over 9,000 people, covering 26 states, and caused over 6,000 deaths, most of them being children. After this happened, people started to take notice, and in 1921, when Franklin D. Roosevelt came down with polio, he made it his life's mission to find a cure. There he is right there. FDR was struck with polio and lost the use of his legs, something he would never regain. He started the March of Dimes in 1938 and made it his point to find a cure for the disease. The name March of Dimes was coined by a popular comedian of the time named Eddie Cantor, and it was made from a popular phrase which was a newsreel called March of Dimes. The name March of Dimes was meant to tell people that it didn't matter how much you donated, even a dime was enough. According to the March of Dimes site, Dr. Jonas Salk found a cure for polio in 1952, and it was announced to the world in 1955. After people were treated with the vaccine, the March of Dimes organization decided they either needed to disband or find a new cause. They decided to change their focus in 1958 to preventing premature birth, birth defects, and infant mortality. Their main focus now is to try to decrease the number of unhealthy babies. The most popular part of the March of Dimes is the annual walk they have every year, and you've probably heard of it. It's the March of Babies. It was established in 1970 and was previously called the Walk America. It's the largest fundraiser for the March of Dimes all year, as well as the oldest nationwide charitable walking event. It's when a group of people spend months raising money, either for themselves as individuals or as a team, and after raising the money, they all get together and they have a walk, sort of as the celebration. I participated in 2 myself, and they were both 5Ks, so about 3.1 miles. The March of Dimes has a very loyal following of mothers and fathers with children that were born early or with birth defects. The March of Dimes website states that 76 cents of every dollar raised in the March for Babies is spent on research programs to help prevent premature birth, birth defects, and infant mortality. Some people might say, well, why prematurity? How would you even stop that? It's not a disease, is it? The March of Dimes uses research as well as education to help mothers to learn how to prevent possible premature births or even how to prepare beforehand for a baby that could have a birth defect. For example, the doctors were able to tell about a month before my nephew was born that he was going to have a mental disease just by the way he was sitting in the womb. He was ultimately born early and has many disabilities. Prematurity is the leading killer of all newborns, and survivors have lifelong health problems like cerebral palsy, intellectual disabilities, chronic lung disease, blindness, hearing loss. According to a doctor who works with ACOG, healthy babies need 39 weeks. After 37 weeks of pregnancy, there's still significant fetal development occurring until a woman's due date. The remaining weeks are the time when the lungs and brain mature and the fetus gains body fat. A baby at 35 weeks' brain weighs 2/3 the weight it will between weeks 37 and 40. Like any organization, there is negativity somewhere in the mix. With all the good that the March of Dimes seems to do, I have found many forums dedicated to the disgruntled employees, ex-employees, and those who have donated to the organization in the past. According to Glassdoor.com, the March of Dimes company rating is only 2.5 out of 5 stars, and their current president, Jennifer House, only has a 44% approval rating. Out of the reviews I read on this site, only a few were positive. Coincidence? I'm not sure. Maybe this site is just a good outlet for those who feel disgruntled towards the organization. Most of the negative reviews refer to the organization's lack of management, willingness to move forward with new technology, and their lost focus. One person stated that they wish the March of Dimes would quit making fundraising a means to itself. She stated that in her short time working with the March of Dimes, most people she talked to couldn't tell her the history of the organization or even who Jonas Salk was. He was the doctor that developed the polio vaccine that sent the March of Dimes ultimately in the direction that they are in today, developing methods to stop prematurity. Should these negative reviews stop people from supporting the March of Dimes? I don't know. That'll have to be a question that potential donators ask themselves. It just might be that there isn't an organization out there without some kind of negative review, or maybe the older an organization is, the more corrupt and money hungry those at the top get. I saw a number on charitynavigator.org that suggests the president of the March of Dimes makes over $600,000 a year. That seems a bit much for a charitable organization, but who am I to speak about that? Of course, this site also stated that the organization makes over $208 million a year, and more than half of that income goes to programs in the charity. So about $155 million a year goes to their research. Even with the president making a large salary, the March of Dimes still uses most of its revenue for research. From 1938, when the March of Dimes started, until now, it's gone through many changes. The March of Dimes research can be held responsible for finding the cure for polio. They changed their focus in 1958 and took on the challenge to find a cure for premature births. This organization has grown a lot through the years, maybe too much in some people's eyes. They are a charity, but at the same time, they're a business with employees and large expenses. I hope this speech has helped you to understand a little bit more about where the March of Dimes came from, what its focus is, and how people feel about it. Thank you.